Hey everyone. I hope y'all are doing well tonight. I am Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, a boutique immigration firm here in the US, and we represent clients nationwide and internationally. And I am also a former USCIS Adjudications Officer. So I wanted to come on live tonight and talk about a couple things. And also take your questions. You can find all of my information on how to reach me in the link in my bio. We are live on the Facebook page for the firm, Williams Immigration. We are in the private Facebook group. The link to that is also the link in my bio, as well as YouTube and TikTok. So if you have any questions, fire away and I will do my best to answer them. But everything here is just educational. So if anything is too case specific, then we will definitely need to have you set up a consultation and talk about your individual case. So that said, I've had some questions lately about sponsoring your spouse. When you are a U.S. citizen living in the States and your spouse lives overseas outside of the U.S. So if you've already gotten married to your spouse and they are living overseas and you are back in the U.S., they will ultimately process their green card application through one of the U.S. consulates overseas. Depending on their situation, it'll be the U.S. consulate in their home country. Before we get there, though, we file with the Immigration Service. And we essentially have to show the Immigration Service that you'll have a real valid relationship, that you're not trying to scam the U.S. government, you're not trying to lie, and you're not just trying to get this person a green card. So we file that application. Then when that is approved, then we send in a whole new round of documents to what we call the National Visa Center. And then the National Visa Center is essentially our go-to, our in-between, me as the attorney and the consulate. So we work with the National Visa Center. We send them even more documents, but these time the documents are less about showing that you have a valid marriage and more about the background of the individual that you're marrying. So the background of your immigrant spouse. Excuse me. So once we get all those documents in with the National Visa Center, then they bundle them up, they send them out to the consulate, and then they schedule an appointment for us. So that appointment, your immigrant spouse will go into that appointment by themselves without you. That is important to know. You are certainly, as the U.S. citizen, welcome to be in the country. You are welcome to be in the city when the interview is happening. You are not welcome in the consulate. Consulates have very limited space. And for security reasons, if you don't have a reason to be in the consulate, they're not going to let you in the consulate. So your spouse will do their interview by themselves. Again, you can be the coffee shop across the street, around the corner, what have you, but you cannot go into the consulate with them and you cannot be in the interview with them. You are not a part of the interview when they're at the consulate. So, so they have their interview, and assuming everything goes really, really well, they will get an immigrant visa in their passport. So the passport will stay there. The consulate, they will finish processing it after your interview. They'll put the immigrant visa stamp in the passport, get the passport back to you, and then you enter the country. Then your loved one enters the country. When they enter the country, final processing is done really quickly, usually in the airport. It's more of a paperwork issue when your spouse hits the U.S., and then they get a stamp in their passport indicating that they are a permanent resident of the U.S., meaning a green card holder. They should then get their green card mailed to them in a few weeks. And that is what that process looks like. That's sort of super, super high level of what that process looks like. So I've gotten a couple questions about that recently. So I just wanted to go over that with you. And, at my firm, we have conversations with you all really to make sure that we've got documents that really show that you are in a marriage, that you're not just doing it to get the green card. Certainly that you have not been paid to get into this marriage so that someone can get the green card. We definitely don't, we don't want anyone committing fraud in order to get their green card. That is a no-go. That is not a good look. That is not a good thing. So we really work with our clients to make sure that we've got the best evidence possible. And sometimes, frankly, we have to think outside the box. Everybody has their preferred list of documents. I'm no different. But we really chat with our clients and talk to them about their individual situation, and come up with a list that really makes sense for them, and anything that we think would be good, that they have in their possession to show the immigration service that, hey, we are really in love and we are keeping this relationship going, even though we are, in two different countries. And so that's one of the things that we do for our clients. We also will do a mock interview. So, we want to make sure that our clients go into these interviews prepared. Some people say my mock interviews are harder than the actual interviews. So I will take that as a compliment, because that means that you were fully prepared and that you weren't as nervous as you could have been during your actual interview. So that is super important, but that's really kind of the overview of, when you're filing for your spouse as a U.S. citizen and your spouse lives overseas. So I wanted to make sure that you guys got that information, because I do think it's important that you know what the process looks like, and then what that means, and then. If you're one of our clients, we talk about, strategy. If we have any strategy issues, we talk about timing of the applications, that sort of thing. If there's something going on where maybe you're working in a third country that is not the U.S., not your home country. If you're working in a third country, are you able to process your interview and go to your interview in that third country? So these are some of the things that we also talk about. We also talk about, the process to also bringing over, your spouse's children, that your spouse, these children that your spouse may have had in a prior relationship that are now going to be your stepchildren. We talk about what that process looks like. So we really like to take a very holistic approach, and make sure that all the questions are answered, and, so that you guys feel like you have a good handle on what you can expect during the process. And frankly, sometimes the process is not very short, is not very long. Sometimes it is extremely long. So that will depend on your individual facts. It will depend on what's happening with the U.S. immigration system in the U.S. and their current backlogs. It will also depend on how much work that specific consulate has overseas. If they're a super busy consulate, it's going to take longer. If they're not a super busy consulate, with a lot of green card cases coming through their consulate, then might not take you as long once you get to that phase. So that's really important. You want to keep that in mind. So if there's any questions that you guys have, I am happy to take a stab at answering them. Hold on, let me scroll up here. So just, keep that in mind. I don't see any questions right now. Let me check over here in the Facebook group. See if there's any questions over there. But if you guys don't have any questions for me, then let me check here. Let's see here. Let's see if we got questions in the Facebook group. I don't see questions in the Facebook group at the moment. So you guys are awfully quiet tonight. That's very unlike you. So I will stick around for maybe a minute or so more, and then if y'all have any questions about your about U.S. immigration, fire away. I work with businesses as well as individuals. So for my business clients, I help them once they have identified a candidate that is not a U.S. citizen. I help them get the right work authorized visa for them, make sure that that candidate has work authorization and all the right documents at the job site. And then for my family clients, it's usually someone who's looking to get a green card and sponsor one of their family members for a green card. So we go through that process as well. So I don't see any questions, you guys. So I'll give it like maybe 10 more seconds and then I will log off. But if y'all are looking to get in touch with me, you want to schedule a consultation, you can certainly do that. And you can do that through the link in my bio. And you can also call the firm. That number is in the bio as well. And you can also find me you can find the website at clwimmigration.com. Let me see here. I think I saw a question. My case is in immigration court. Hold on. They canceled. Hold on. Cases in immigration court. They canceled the master hearing. Ask for submit written plea. So we did it, and now what to expect next. Oh, okay. So your case is currently in immigration court. I do not handle any deportation defense work. So if you are in immigration court, that means that you are currently in deportation proceedings. And that is not something that my firm handles at all. So unfortunately, I don't even know the answer to your question. Other than to say that I don't know the answer. I am one of these attorneys that is very confident when I don't know the answer, saying I don't know the answer. If it's something that I can look up, I certainly do, but I don't handle immigration deportation cases that are in immigration court. So sorry, I couldn't be of help, but I would highly recommend if you are in deportation proceedings that you find and work with an immigration attorney who routinely handles immigration deportation defense cases. Those cases are super complicated. You are before an immigration judge. And so you want to make sure that you are meeting all of the deadlines and giving that judge all the information that they need in order to make a decision on your case. So good luck. Sorry, I couldn't be of more help. That is just unfortunately not in my wheelhouse, and I am very comfortable telling you all that. All right, let's see if we have any more questions. Thanks for logging in and listening, though. I totally appreciate that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let me see here. Okay. So we got a question in the Facebook group about fiancé visas. So fiancé visas are when you are engaged to an individual. First of all, you're a U.S. citizen. You're engaged to an individual that does not live in the United States. So that individual is outside of the United States. The fiancé visa is a way for you to petition for that individual to come to the United States. It's called a fiancé visa. We file with the immigration service. Then they go to the consulate. They have an interview. The process very closely mirrors the process that I just laid out for you if you are a U.S. citizen and you are married. But when you're a fiancé, you don't come in, you don't you don't get an immigrant visa at the consulate, you get a fiance visa at the consulate. So you then take your fiance visa, you hop on a plane, you come to the US, and then you have to file an adjustment of status application. So you have to essentially file that green card application with the Immigration Service. So sometimes it is helpful to do the fiance visa. If your fiance is in a country that that prevents you all from getting married. So let's say you are a same-sex couple. Some countries simply do not allow within their legal system same-sex couples to get married. So in that sense, in that case, I would say a fiance visa can certainly be helpful. But overall, while I think the fiance visa is a great way to get someone here a little bit quicker in some cases, not always, it is sometimes so much easier just to get married first. And then when you come into the US, you are a green card holder, then coming to the US and then having to apply for your green card and apply for work authorization and then apply for a travel permission in order to leave the US. So that's one of those things where I would highly recommend a consultation so that I can kind of dig in and see what might be the best way for you and your fiance to start your lives together in the States. The fiance visa is not always going to be the best way to do that. Sometimes it absolutely is, no doubt about it. But sometimes the processing times for a fiance visa, they're long. They can be really long, guys. So that's something that, we take into consideration when I sit down and have a consultation with folks. Let's see here. All right. I don't think I see. I don't see any more questions. Let me give it about 30 more seconds or so. And then if I don't see any more, I am going to hop off and then go make myself some dinner. Queen Zuri, I am good. How are you? Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Let's see here. I don't have any questions there. Kind of checking all the platforms, guys. I'm checking all the platforms. What do we got here? Okay. Okay. All right, guys. I don't see any more. Hold on. What is the process when you meet an immigrant in the United States and marry? Okay. So that process is similar to the process I laid out earlier. So what happens when you, I'm going to assume that you are a U.S. citizen. I'm going to assume that the person sponsoring their spouse is a U.S. citizen. If you are a U.S. citizen and you meet your spouse in the United States, the very big general process is that person is considered your immediate relative. And that means that you can file all your applications at one time. Everything goes in at once, if that works, right? So I meet with my clients, we talk strategy, the very big picture, everything can be filed at once. So two big processes. The first one tells the Immigration Service about your relationship, that you did not marry just to get a green card, that you are not committing fraud, that you really love this person, you want to be together. So we show them that in the application. Then in the second application, which is really kind of the end of the green card application, we file that also. And that is the application where the Immigration Service does all their background checks. All that stuff gets done based on the information in that second application. In my office, we generally will also file a separate work authorization and a separate travel permission document for the for your immigrant spouse so that they can work and travel outside of the United States and come back in. Once the Immigration Service completes sort of their initial processing of that, usually they will then call the couple in for an interview. Important to note right now, the policy is, because they are trying to sort through their backlog as quickly as possible. Right now, the Immigration Service policy is if the case looks pretty clean and they don't see any problems with the documents, they are in fact approving cases without interviews. So it is 110% discretionary on their end. They can absolutely call you in for an interview. But if they feel like the case is pretty clean, there's no red flags, there's no issues, they will approve it without an interview. So basically at the point where I would expect to be getting an interview notice, you just get your green card, your spouse just gets their green card mailed to the house. If there is an interview, then you go in and you go in, you complete the interview. If everything, and you go in together, unlike if your spouse is living overseas or it's just your spouse in the interview. If both of you are in the US, then both of you go in for the interview. And then hopefully great things happen. You get approved and then you get your green card in the mail a little bit after that. So that's kind of the overall process. And that's really the overall process of if you're a US citizen and you are trying to sponsor your spouse who is here. I hope that was helpful. Green card renewal with, y'all, I should really be putting on my glasses. This is like ridiculous. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is way clear. Okay. Green card renewal with previous charges. I don't quite know what you mean by previous charges. But in general, you can certainly renew your green card. If your green card is valid for 10 years, you can simply request the Immigration Service to send you a new one. Sometimes they will take your biometrics, your fingerprints, and photo. Sometimes they will not, depending on the last time that you were, depending on the last time they took your biometrics. So you just want to be aware of that. But yes, if you have a 10-year green card, you can certainly renew that green card. You do not have to do an entirely new green card application like you did the first time. This is just essentially asking them to send you a new card with a new expiration date. I get plenty of questions where people think that they need to do an entirely new green card application and have their spouse or their employer do an entirely new application for them. And you absolutely do not if you already have your green card. Now, if you got your green card based on marriage and you were married for less than 2 years when it was approved, and your green card is only valid for 2 years, then you are a conditional permanent resident. So that is a more extensive application because we need to remove the conditions on your green card. So think of it as converting your temporary green card, which is your conditional, to true permanent resident. So that is a whole separate application. That is much more than just asking for a new card. That is showing to the Immigration Service that you are still married, you're still in this relationship, y'all are still moving forward, you're still doing all the things that you were doing during, when you mailed in that initial green card application. So if it's a 10-year green card, you just ask the Immigration Service to send you a new one with a new expiration date. If it is a 2-year green card, that is a conditional permanent resident, and you need to remove those conditions before they will issue you a 10-year green card. Big difference in the validity time frame of your green card. Let's see here. Is it possible? Hold on. Is it possible for my husband to apply for a visitor's visa while waiting for his green card process? That would have to do a consultation with you because that's a very specific question. That's not sort of like a big overall, like, here's the process, here's how the system works question. Is it possible for him to actually apply? Yes. Is it advisable? I do not know. So will it harm the application? I don't know. I would need to know your individual circumstances. So I would recommend that you click the link in my bio, schedule a consultation, and we can really dig through that and see if that is the best thing that he should be doing. Okay, green card renewal, previous charges. That's the one I didn't understand. When it says 2 months until case decision, what does that mean? Where did you see 2 months until case decision? But on its face, it means that they're expecting to give you a decision in 2 months. Now, whether or not you actually get a decision in 2 months, I don't know. I'd have to know where you saw it, what kind of case we're talking about. But I mean, on its face, it means that someone's trying to give you a decision in 2 months. I have not seen that as a status update for any of my cases. So I'm super curious where you see that, what kind of case it is. Let me see here. Some of you are asking for how long your case will take. What are the current processing times? The short answer is I don't know. The short answer is I do not know. I do not know what kind of case you have filed. I do not know what was, what was in the application. So whenever my clients ask me for processing times, or whenever we give them processing times, I look up the processing times right when I'm responding to their question, because I want to make sure that people are getting the most current processing times. So I do not have all the processing times memorized. They are fluid, they move. So I don't know what the processing times are for your individual case. I would recommend you can either look online for them. They are certainly on the USCIS website, or you can schedule a consultation with the office. And we are happy to, kind of walk you through the timing of your case and any other questions, any other, real specific questions that you have. Someone is saying I have a few criminal charges and I want to renew my green card. It's a 10-year green card. For that, I would most definitely do a consultation. There are some crimes where, as a green card holder, you can still be deported. That is super important to understand. Being a green card holder does not shield you from deportation. So while the Immigration Service may renew your green card, they could also opt, once they do the biometrics and see the criminal charges, they could opt to send your case over to the immigration court, over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and see if they want to initiate deportation proceedings. So if you have any sort of criminal charges and you are looking to do anything in the U.S. immigration world, I would highly recommend that you work with an attorney on that. That is absolutely nothing to play around with. And that's not something that I think people should be trying to do DIY. That is absolutely not a DIY situation. I don't think any legal situation is a DIY situation, but especially when we are talking about one or more criminal charges. Can you expedite NVC? I chuckle because I would love to expedite NVC. NVC will only really expedite under very, very, very extreme circumstances. One of them that they take into consideration is whether or not there is a child who is aging out. So aging out means that an individual is will soon hit 21, because as a minor, a child in the immigration world is someone who is under 21 and unmarried. That is when they will look at aging, that's when they will look at expediting. So, if you have a situation where you think needs to be expedited, I would, just schedule a consultation. We can certainly talk about it. But I will tell you that a lot of people think that their cases need to be expedited. And while the facts are sad, or, I think they might need to be expedited, that's certainly something we can, we can talk about. But you have to understand the Immigration Service gets expedite requests all day, every day. So they are in a very tough position of determining what really, really needs to be expedited based upon how they do things internally. So I would say definitely get yourself set up with me for a consultation. We can talk about it, and I can give you my honest assessment of whether or not I think they will expedite it. And then we can kind of go from there. NV Garnett, you're very welcome. My pleasure. I've been waiting for my I-130 marriage base for 23 months. That is a consultation. I would need to know more. I would need to know, see if I could get if you have a copy of what you filed. I can happy to look at it, see if I see any red flags. That might be the source of, it taking 23 months. I'd actually have to look up the processing times for, your particular jurisdiction, and see if that is completely outside of processing times. Can you expedite NVC? No, we did that one. Who is that? Can I call you for a consultation? Absolutely. All of my contact information is in my bio. There is a link in my bio that has all the information where you can reach me. Let's see here. I received my green card, but I did not receive the approval notice I-601. It was approved SA. I received my green card. Okay, so if you received your green card, that's always a good thing. If you received your green card, then that means that they approved your 601 waiver. They wouldn't have approved your green card without it. I'm not sure if you are looking specifically for the approval on the 601 or what. But if you received your green card, then that's a good thing. If you think there's a problem with the approval of your green card because of the 601, that's a whole different can of worms that would need to be addressed. So we would have to address that in a consultation. Can USCIS send you a green card and an EAD at the same time? So technically, yes. But once you get the green card, your EAD is no longer needed, right? So you typically are going to get your green card as a way for you to work prior to your green card being approved. But once a green card is approved, you don't need the EAD. Now, certainly within the agency, because there are so many moving parts in so many different offices, wires get crossed often. People are human. We all make mistakes. So it is not unheard of where you get your EAD in the mail maybe after you get your green card. But you should be, if someone's needing evidence that you have work authorization, you should be showing them your green card. Ultimately, when and if the Immigration Service picks up on the error and the wire is getting crossed, they may or may not send you a denial notice or a withdrawal notice or a notice of intent to revoke on the EAD. And the explanation should be in there that essentially says you have already received your green card, kind of thing. But if it's something that you're worried about, you can certainly make a consultation with the office, and we can see what's I'm happy to look and see what's going on and see what I can see, whether it's just an innocent mistake or whether we think there's something else going on there. Let's see here. Excuse me. My VAWA is pending from 32 months and processing times are 35 months. When can we sue them? I like your gusto on that. I don't know. I don't actually do any VAWA cases. So VAWA is not in my wheelhouse. There are some great attorneys out there who do VAWA cases all day, every day. They are better immigration attorneys than I am to ask about VAWA. That is just not in my wheelhouse. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer to your question. But thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. We just got our confirmation receipts from USCIS NVC in Missouri today, filed August 31st. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. We like that you're getting receipt notices so quickly. I like to see that. Hi, I got approved for green card a month ago. I've not received the card, just the approval notice. That happens, quite honestly. A month ago is not too terribly long to be waiting. I would recommend doing a consultation. We can figure out, and I can ask you questions regards to how you applied, were you overseas, were you in the States, those sorts of things to kind of give me a sense of what's happening and where your green card may be stuck in the process. But a month is not, it's not terribly long in general, quite honestly, to be waiting for your physical card to arrive. Did you move? Was there a change of address? That sort of thing. So there are some sort of general things that I would check into first and ask you some questions. But you definitely 1 month is not like a terrible time to be waiting. I know it seems like forever, but in the immigration world, a month is not so bad. Let's see here. You are quite welcome. It's my pleasure. Let me see if we've got any questions in the private Facebook group. And y'all, if you're not a member of the private Facebook group and you want to be, you are welcome to click the link in the bio and request membership in the private Facebook group. Some things we tailor specifically to questions that are in the private Facebook group that we may not talk about on lives. Let's see here. How long does adjustment of status through marriage take? So the short answer is right now, it's taken a little while. If it is a situation where is a U.S. citizen who is sponsoring someone, those cases tend to run a little bit faster. But right now, and you may not have been on, so I will let you know, right now the Immigration Service has a policy in place where they're trying to get through their backlogs. And in trying to get through their backlogs, if a case looks really clean for them, they don't have a problem with any of the documents, and it doesn't look like someone got married with a fraudulent intent just to get their green card, they are looking at those cases and approving them without calling folks in for an interview. And the interview, obviously kind of slows down the process. So to the extent that they can get cases, approved without an interview, they are doing so, but not having an interview is 110% discretionary for the agency. So I don't know processing times off the top of my head. I just don't know them. Every time one of my clients asks me, I look them up because processing times are indeed fluid. They depend on a couple things. One is which office is processing your case. There's a lot of cases and a lot of offices in the U.S. that process adjustment of status case. I do not know all of them in terms of their processing times. So I don't know how I can't even give you sort of a ballpark average. But you can go on to the USCIS website if you have a receipt number, if it's something that you've already filed. You can go on and check and see for your specific jurisdiction. So I hope that's helpful. Let me see here. What else do we have here? Let me see here. All right. Hold on. Let me look for more questions. I don't see any over here. See if I got any over here. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions, guys. Someone has said, can I inbox you for a question? You are certainly welcome to inbox me. Just note that I may tell you that you need to schedule a consultation. So I appreciate that you have a question that you may not want to ask in such a public forum, But just know, so that you don't get upset with me later, that I may say, depending on the depth of the question, that you're going to have to schedule a consultation. But you're absolutely welcome to send me a question via DM. But just know that I cannot and do not give legal advice on lives or in my inbox. Okay. Are there different offices that print EAD or green cards? So sorry. Hold on 1 second. So the immigration office prints EADs, or they have contractors who print EADs and green cards and their, that sort of collateral. I do not know how many different offices print them. So I don't actually know the answer to your question. I do know that they have contractors that print them. They have made that very clear to us. But in terms of where those offices are, how many there are, I have no idea. I would imagine there's more than one, but I don't know for sure. Is there a consultation fee? Yes, my consultations are paid consultations. Usually people can schedule a half an hour if they feel like they have something that's like totally in depth and complicated and needing of an hour. We can certainly get you on the calendar for an hour. I do find that most people that I can kind of sort through their issue in about 30 minutes, quite honestly. I've been practicing for quite some time, around 25 years. So I've seen quite a few things. I've seen quite a few patterns. And yeah, but our consultations are 38 minutes or 60 minutes, whichever you prefer. But yeah, I can kind of get you with a series of very what's what I'm looking for, very succinct, very direct questions within that 30 minutes. So yes, but you are certainly welcome to schedule a consultation and we can chat about your individual situation. How long, when you get the EAD, how long after do you get your green card? So it completely depends. It completely depends. It depends on the type of application. It depends on which office is processing your applications. It depends on the processing times. There is no set time between getting your green card, getting your EAD card and then getting your green card. It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. I wish it did, quite honestly. I wish I could say, okay, now that you've got your EAD, it's going to take you X amount of time to get your green card. It doesn't, that timeline does not exist. So there's so many things that fall into that. Whether you're at a big service center and they're processing your case, whether you're at a local office and they're processing your case, there are different caseloads in different offices, different officers have different caseloads on their desks. So it just depends. So I don't know. I wish there was a set time though. When you go for an interview, but you file on your own, can a lawyer join you as well? This is a good question. So all of them are good, but this one is especially good. So if you decide to file your initial case on your own, and then you are called in for an interview, you can hire an attorney to go to your interview with you. That's absolutely fine. There's paperwork, we file paperwork and then we can go to your interview with you. Or depending on what needs to be done in your case, we can bring paperwork with us to the interview. But yes, you can absolutely hire and bring a lawyer with you to your interview, even if they did not do your, even if they didn't file your case for you. The other thing that you can do as well is you can do a mock interview with my office before your interview and not have a lawyer go with you to your interview. So if you're just trying to figure out what happens during the interview, just kind of get your feet up under you for that interview. My office does mock interviews as well for cases that we have not filed, that you filed on your own. We certainly do them for cases that we file, of course, but we also do them for cases that we don't file. Always helpful if you come to us to do your mock interview. Always helpful if you have a full copy of what you are filing or what you have filed. So just keep that in mind. Is combo card processing time longer than just the EAD by itself? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Again, processing times vary on a myriad of things. So it will depend on what jurisdiction is processing your case, what kind of case it is. It just depends, but not necessarily. Combo card processing is not necessarily longer. But once you get the combo card, it's beautiful because you've got work authorization and travel permission in one card. And so there, during 21 to 22-ish, they were processing them separately because the EAD cards were taking so much longer. But I think they've really gone back to processing them together and shooting out combo cards. My clients are, kind of back to getting their combo cards. So if there's a reason that you're filing just the EAD and not the advanced parole, then, it is what it is. Like if you can't file an advanced parole or you don't want an advanced parole, that's fine. But if you want a combo card, then I would say apply for both. And, unfortunately, we all just got to wait. Like a large part of immigration is just waiting. You messaged me. All right. Once we get off this live, I will take a look at that message. What other questions do y'all have for me tonight? Let me check the private Facebook group, see if anybody has a question over there. No, I don't see any questions over there. All right. I don't see any more questions. And it is time for me to go make some dinner. So this has been fun, as always. I will be live again tomorrow night, probably sometime between 5:30 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. If in the meantime you want to get yourself set up for a consultation, you are welcome to do that. You can do that through the link in my bio. If you want to DM me a question, you are also welcome to do that. But understand, I do not provide any legal advice through DMs. So the answer may be that you need to schedule a consultation, but I also understand that people may not want to ask a super specific personal question in a live that is being shot out through several different places online. So I get that as well. Or, you can call the office. Again, all that information is in the link in my bio. And you can also visit the website at clwimmigration.com. Oh, okay. We have 2 more questions. And then for real, y'all, I'm going to go make some dinner. Okay. Hi, my son is over 30 with 2 kids. What is the filing process? Filing process for green cards, I'm assuming. If you could clarify that for me super fast. And what is a combo card? A combo card, it's a great question. A combo card is when you apply for a green card, many people apply for employment authorization as well as travel permission. Although they are 2 separate applications, oftentimes the Immigration Service will give you one card. And that card says on it that it is valid for work and travel. And it is used while the green card application is pending. Let's see here. You said yes. So I'm assuming this is for a U.S. citizen. So process for individuals is over. My something is over 30 with 2 kids. Who is over 30 with 2 kids? Is that your spouse? I don't know. Who is over 30 with 2 children? But let me explain it this way. So, as a U.S. citizen, or I guess the family-based immigration system in general, you cannot sponsor everybody. You absolutely cannot sponsor everybody. So you can't sponsor your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, that sort of thing. Now, if you are an unmarried son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, that U.S. citizen can sponsor you. Son or daughter in the immigration world is an individual over 21. A child in the immigration world, the U.S. immigration world, is under 21 and unmarried. Okay. If you are a married son or daughter, so married and over 21 of a U.S. citizen, that U.S. citizen can sponsor you. But understand, it's going to take a while. You are the second to last in the preference categories. So the further we go down our preference category list, that puts a married son or daughter in the third preference category. So F3, it's going to take longer. The further we go down in that preference chart, it's going to take you longer. So can you sponsor those folks, or, can those folks be sponsored? Sure. I would recommend, if that is what you are looking to do, I would recommend scheduling yourself a consultation so that we can go through what that means, what the application looks like, the processing, the timelines, so that everybody has clarity on how long this application will take, and what it looks like, and what you sort of can and can't do while the application is pending. Someone asked how I feel. I am getting over a cold, so I appreciate that. I think I sound worse than I actually feel. And that is all I see. So I am going to almost, drop my phone. So that's nice. How do you contact me? You can contact me using the link in my bio. You're welcome to schedule a consultation through there. You're welcome to schedule a consultation with the link in my bio, and then we can talk about your individual situation. And then, yeah, we'll kind of get you on your way and get you started on your process. So I am going to log off. I will be online tomorrow again, same channels, TikTok, Facebook group, the private Facebook group, the Facebook page, and the YouTube channel. I'm going to go make some dinner now and have some hot tea. But yeah, I'll be online live tomorrow between 5:30 and 6. So if you have more questions, feel free to log in. Thank you. I think I sound a whole lot. I feel better than I sound, if that makes any sense. I've had this cough for a minute, so I'm working through it. So it's been fun talking with you guys, and I will chat some more tomorrow. All right. I will chat with y'all later. Bye. Have a good night. And have a good night.